the other team is doing well, they go, hey, I guess I'll just buy an armor item and counter every hero on the enemy team. I guess I'll buy a Ghost Scepter and counter everybody, right? So it's kind of this race of who gets to what first. Do you get more physical and negative armor items on BetBoom, or do you get the armor and the ethereal items on Xtreme Gaming, and you're just like unkillable now? That's where the early game really matters, and we'll see if there's any smokes into first blood, stuff like that, which could also tip the scales.
All right. Well, it is time to see what's going to happen here in game number 1 of BetBoom versus Xtreme Gaming. Both teams smoking up on the high grounds, as we are finally going to see how the support CKTA draft works. I mean, we saw it once, and we're like, maybe it was just a fluke. Like clearly not. They believe in it. They do swap it around, though, so this time it will be save on the hero. Katomi definitely gave him some pointers from yesterday. He's like, guys, I'm telling you, this hero is good. Cloven Chaos, explained earlier by Zach. We'll go over here again, because this is definitely the one hero everyone's like, what does this do? You throw Chaos Bolt, you still stun and do damage to its original target. It will then split to 2 additional targets, prioritizing heroes, 1 doing damage, 1 stunning. If there's only 1 other target, it always stuns. So it's basically, think of Vengeful Spirit's shard with the magic missile, but just built into the ability. It always hits 2 heroes, can do 3, kind of just causing some disruption on the back line of the fight. It's not bad. Like, I understand why it can be seen as a viable support option.
Causing chaos, some would say.
Dude, I love how Chaos Knight is the only hero in Dota where they just actually allow extreme amounts of RNG because of the lore.
I'm glad.
Like,
I really like that.
We have to rename this hero otherwise. You know, they tried removing it for a while, and they're like, all right, that's unfun.
I really like it. I think in the top lane, it does make sense. Like, early levels will be a little annoying, but when you do have Reality Rift and, let's say, maybe level 2 Ion Shell, right, that becomes really scary for a hero like Ancient Apparition with no actual escapes, and you get Reality Rifted, stunned, there's 2 Ion Shells next to you, like, you're just dead. So, the early levels, you know, he's got to put in the work and the harass now, because once level 2 Reality Rift comes out, that might be enough. You may not even need the second level in Ion Shell.
The mid lane matchup should be interesting, because Slardar and Dragon Knight are both very much just sustain heroes. They typically are supposed to counter other melees. So I don't know who wins in the matchup of these two. I imagine the first couple levels will be better for GPK, and then as XM gets levels, it will eventually just tilt into the Dragon Knight favor. Just with like the nature of Breathe Fire and, you know, him getting more regen every level, whereas Slardar's kind of stuck at his, you know, regen from the river until level 6.
That's true. I will say that BetBoom has better support for rotating in. Ancient Apparition is the weakest, so even if it is a pretty even matchup, we could see that and make a difference when the supports come help out. It is a team game after all. A lot of wards scouting those kind of rotations, though. We actually see 2 in the mid lane, or like 2 leading to mid on the bottom half.
Oh, you're right. I didn't even see that.
Katomi actually getting this D ward. He must have seen them place it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess he had a ward in the exact... Because the thing is, I only saw Katomi's ward there. I didn't see the other one. So, yeah. I guess maybe his got placed slightly earlier, and he saw the placement come down, but... Very rare D ward for that position. Tidehunter having an amazing lane, as expected.
A little late on the Nightmare Sleep. I missed if it was on cooldown, but Xingqiu does get the block for that.
I think the most surprising thing is how rough the lane is going for the TA, right? Like, typically you just rely on Psyblades, but I think with Tidehunter, if he gets any anchor smashes on this hero, like, your farm is gonna be real sad.
Yeah, you're a really short-ranged hero to start as well, so it's not that hard for him to get the anchor smash onto you.
thinking about diving for Polison, but they hold off on it. They actually forwarded the creep wave there, so I thought they were for sure going for the dive, but waiting till level 3 it looks like, or to just lane drag here.
I mean, all this lane dragging does mean Tiny is off to a very good start at the top of the CS charts for now. Everyone else is mostly close. Like you said, the TA struggling a little bit.
Oh, Miro low on resources. Avalanche comes out with a blood grenade, amped, of course, by that vortex. We were talking, right? Like, this is one of those combos that Ancient Apparition Tiny, it's so good. Typically seen in the mid lane because you play around the Avatos, but even as a carry, multiple points in Avalanche will just kill anybody.
Getting himself the first blood now, so definitely off to a strong start. Oh, actually, Poloson got it. I didn't even notice. I actually think that's fine. I think an Ancient Apparition who gets a slightly stronger start than usual is pretty good, just because you want that Ice Blast online as soon as possible, and you want to play together. So, I mean, if you have boots, arcane boots, whatever, a little bit faster, that actually just speeds up your gameplay, which is exactly what your team wants.
They're going to go for it again here. Save taking a lot of damage. Now in comes Miro here with the Ion Cell, trying to chase down Ame. He will get the return. So a 1-for-1 trade topside. Now in comes Katomi here on the Bane. Does have the Sleepwalk. Will pull him back. The blood grenade, actually ends up breaking the sleep there with the Ion Shell, but should be more than enough damage to finish the job. Maybe. Hold up.
Is it?
It is just barely. Miro with the double kill. XinQ actually TPing at the top side here to try and get the assist, but did not manage to get in range.
XinQ's got to be careful. Save is back. I mean, he got spotted.
They're going to go for the... Oh, GPK is here. This is going to be chain stun after chain stun. Big avalanche onto 3. XinQ's going to hold back the Slardar, but the Ion Shells continuing to get to work here. Another crush. In comes Ancient Apparition. The magic damage, it's substantial from these supports, and GPK, he's frozen up. He's dead. Miro now shackled up. Both of the supports on Xtreme are going to be the big winners here. A double kill for XinQ and Poloson. You said getting a good start at Ancient Apparition.
He's level 5. The Wisdom Shrines haven't even spawned yet. If he gets one of the Wisdom Shrines, this is going to be such a fast level 6. I get a replay here. So the Avalanche doing a lot of work to buy time right before this clip started. And then he is a tanky hero on Tiny. And don't forget his innate reduces your damage a little bit every time you hit him. So makes the dive take extra long. They do finish the kill in the end. So sort of mission success. That was the Tiny TPing back in. So he's got to walk now. But it cost you a couple heroes. And we'll have to see if that Ice Blast is successful when it comes online early. I mean, he's here for maybe a little bit more action, trying to get that level 6. You can find more kills.
Basically cost you your mid tower too.
That's true. XM never left.
Yeah, he will just deny it, realizing there is no way he keeps that alive.
Tower has been denied. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Wisdom Shrines both taken. This one for XSS, the other for save. Now they're going to look for Poloson here once again. I think they realize that the Ancient Apparition is actually a pretty substantial amount of damage here. Now, big wall and the vacuum pulls back Ame. He's going to be able to try and body block him here. The Tidehunter TP, though, going to put this to an end.
We do see some of the strength of the Darkseer and Chaos Knight there. If you're just out of position a little bit, you just have no chance of getting away. Poloson, a little unlucky, walked out to unblock that camp, but just stumbled into 2 heroes in the night.
GPK will be able to bottle up a regen. Not like the best rune, but for Slardar, this hero actually uses Crush a lot to farm, so we'll have a little bit more of those to spam out. TA traps being taken down in the bottom lane here as they drop a sentry to try and chase after her. And XM now coming in on the Dragon Knight. So they want to just immediately put pressure on a second tower. I think Templar Assassin, yeah, it's like she either needs help or they need to back, and it looks like they are going to start TPing in some heroes. A trap does come out here from Kiritich. They're trying to force the Hex. They get it. Save, however, he's going to come in, get the stun. GPK as well, but the Ravage. Tidehunter doing a lot of work here. These Nightmares, well, it might actually be helping XM for the moment. Polison with a double kill on the Ancient Apparition. Miro now in on this Darkseer, vacuums up the side of Xtreme, trying to run these heroes down with the on-shell. The wall now comes out, feeds grip. It's available from Katomi. He just hits his level 6. The wards with the turnaround. It's an absolute bloodbath in this bottom lane. Only 2 heroes surviving for each team.
So that ends up being a 3-4-2, and you kill the TA first. Having a lot of sources of multiple damage instances actually breaks the refraction, allowing you to kill her, because once that's down, she's actually not that healthy of a hero. Then we have all these different AoE spells coming out, so it's kind of close, but off the slight advantage they had from these lanes, it looks like XG pulls out ahead just by a little bit. I suppose that is a successful tower defense. So in that sense, it's okay for BetBoom.
That is true. Technically, your tower's alive. Well,
Is that
XM. See, that's the thing, dude. That crush damage is pretty substantial.
Yeah, imagine being a hero that doesn't have all this natural armor, right?
Yeah.
If that was a different mid hero who, let's see, Dragon Knight's at plus 16 right now. So if he didn't have all that armor, that could easily be, 3/4 of his health down on that combo, and then they dive the rest.
Yeah, the moment this Blink Dagger's online, I can very much see BetBoom starting to play even more aggressive. And I feel like that's kind of what you need to do when you are playing this hero. Top side, we're going to see the towers trade for the tier 1. Miro will grab this. Bottom lane, Xtreme will grab their second tower here shortly.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Ancient Apparition does have the Ice Blast. They haven't used it quite yet, despite the strong start. His own death, and then careful play from BetBoom means that we didn't see the early 6 we thought we would. And let's see if they can find anything before the Blink Dagger on the Dragon Knight. Otherwise, this ends up being a pretty normal timing, all things considered, for the Ancient Apparition.
Well, it's funny because he didn't get Shrine XP because he was too high level.
I know, right?
Like, that's one of the weird things about it. Like, Polison was actually higher level than 2 other heroes on his team. So Tidehunter took the Shrine, and then the XP went to the Shadow Shaman, but it also could have gone to the Tiny because Ame was lower level than Polison at the time.
Suffering from success.
Yeah, sometimes you're just having too good of a game. Blink Dagger is up on Slardar here, so GPK, I imagine, is going to want to be playing close to his team. Now, there is a Power Rune about to spawn. He does not win the 50-50, and it's an amplified damage. That would have been a massive rune for him to play around right now.
With that, you've got all your ultimates. I think they'll go for the last tier 1 tower here. Set them up for a nice position for the Tormentor that'll spawn in a few minutes. It looks like they just want to steal some Ancients first. I guess the top lane's not pushed in yet, so they'll wait for Xingqiu to get the lane a little closer.
Right now, Xtreme doing pretty good at maintaining their lanes. And the supports are actually having a really good game as well. It seems like a lot of the stacks that they've made on Xtreme have all managed to be cleared by Xtreme, right? Which helps out quite a bit. We're not quite seeing the same thing. Avalanche into an Ice Blast. Katomi, no way he survives this one. Kill will go to Polison.
For better or for worse,
toss.
a lot of these kills are going to the supports on Xtreme Gaming, which is why they have such a net worth lead over their counterparts. And these are supports that can make good use of this early gold. Like, this Shadow Shaman is 500 gold away from the Blink. That's really fast.
Yeah, that is.
Now you have another way to set up the Ice Blast. You have
Slows.
all 4 heroes.
Meld Strike comes out. XM, do they have the damage? They do. A tanky boy, but not tanky enough.
That's the negative armor you were talking about. Reality Rift does 6 negative armor, and then Meld is 8.
Oh, I was gonna say 7, 8. Jeez. And then don't forget the like -20 that eventually comes out from Corrosive Haze.
Yeah, she also had an Orb of Blight and then an Orb of Destruction, so add on, was that 4 more?
Yeah. So if anyone is wondering, will the minus armor strategy work against heroes like DK or Tiny, really? The answer is kind of yes. There's a weird curve in the damage. Like minus armor doesn't actually counter high armor. It like, I don't know how else to describe it other than that, like super high armor heroes, you're better off with magic damage than you are with actual physical damage, no matter the amount of minus armor you get, because you can get more armor, where there's eventually a cap on how much you can actually remove. Bottom lane here, Blink, Dragon Tail into the Ice Blast. That's a dead Slardar. First, okay, so here's the thing. This is Xtreme getting really good value out of their Blink reveal, whereas we haven't seen BetBoom get active with the Slardar yet.
Yeah, they found some kills, but it actually wasn't the Slardar with his Blink, was it? And actually that kill is perfectly timed for the Tormentor, which is going to be up now. You might be fast at taking Tormentor with all the negative armor on BetBoom, but if you're not in position, you can't really stall it out like Xtreme can with the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast threat. So this is going to go uncontested over to Poloson on the Ancient Apparition. That's a nice stun, extra stun value on his ultimate. Can you go for Roche, actually? Because we do see teams do this. I think you need the Slardar, and he's not in position. But maybe the Chaos Knight's enough? They're going to try.
Ion Shells, Meld Strikes. You don't have your Deso quite yet.
He is here.
Slardar TP'd in, yeah. So with this, you will definitely have the damage. I was like, I feel like you need Corrosive Haze, but I was going to withhold my judgment. Deso. Okay, no, Deso is done. All right. Yeah, they've got a lot. What's Roshan's armor at there? Like -15?
I didn't click fast enough.
All right. So you trade the Tormentor for the Roshan. You have Aegis now into the hands of TA. They actually see the Tide Hunter, and they will make this play. He could Ravage, but this is a tanky hero to kill. Ice Blast gonna come through, another Meld, Blink Crush, but the Ice Blast catches the whole backline. Jinkyu tries to drop the wards on top of him. Doesn't manage to finish anything off here. The Ice Blast not gonna shatter the Chaos Knight either. Very close. Nightmare out from Katomi. He's looking to try and set up a full feeds grip. Does he get the chance? He does. Positioned perfectly. They're gonna try and bring down this tanky Tiny, but it's just way too much. XM now in trouble. The chase continuing his GPK. It's the crush. Save with another Chaos Bolt, another Meld Strike. They fort the towers, but it's not enough, and it's a triple kill for Kiritich. BetBoom, they lose their Darkseer, but that is it. A really solid fight here as they hit a ton of item timings.
Yeah, like a 2,000 gold swing because of that. I can't believe he didn't Ravage there. I know he got caught off guard, you know, and trying to run, but the Ice Blast coming in was actually going to connect on 3, and it did. So imagine like Ravage on top of that. You live longer, buy more time for the rest of the team to show up. I think Xtreme could have taken a much better fight there if the Ravage comes out. So BetBoom doing enough damage to kill the Tide quickly before he could make that decision really pays off for them there. Immediate value from the Aegis that they just took, and 6 Deso charges right away for the TA, and she's already having such a great game. Earlier, struggled a little in the lane. We talked about that, but full recovery has been made, and now top the net worth by almost, 2,000 gold. Difference gained 3K on the Aegis right away. That's a lot considering that's a 15-minute Aegis. It's not easy to get that much gold at this point. Or maybe it is for BetBoom.
Yeah, maybe BetBoom's just built differently. You never know.
It's a 4K with the tier 1 now. And you can just keep going, right?
Mid right away, too. They just placed a ward on Xtreme in mid. They're going to put 2 more wards here on the bottom side in this jungle. This is, it's weird because it's like really aggressive warding, but it's also, they don't feel comfortable playing in their own jungle right now, you know?
Nor should you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll just go for the trade on the tier 2 bottom. This is much better than trying to fight into BetBoom. You'd be going into your half of the map, but BetBoom's vision. So you'd rather try to force them back to their own side or just completely avoid each other.
Ice Blast like clips a random CK on the backside. They get on top of XM. They're going to come in here on Kirich. It's the Nightmare. It sleeps the Tide and sends them back up onto the high ground. They get the Fiend's grip. He just doesn't even look tanky at all. Vacuum's going to stop the TP out, and XXS, well, he was asleep at the wheel here this game. What a Nightmare setup from Katomi. That was absolutely huge for this fight.
This time the positioning tied a little too far up, so he's not near the Dragon Knight. And part of the reason that Tide got picked is that, oh, they have a lot of different crowd control. You know, I'll have the Blubber to remove it, but Nightmare is actually a low damaging ability that can keep you out of the fight for a really long time if no one is there to remove it. And because he was so far forward, no one could get to him to remove it. So even though there are no BKBs on BetBoom yet, and Ravage would have been amazing, they just did such a good job of keeping the Tidehunter out of the fight.
Yeah, that was a real like resident sleeper moment for him.
Quite literally. And with the Aether lens on Karaomi, it's gonna be even easier to make that happen.
Yeah, Kiritich having a great game now. I mean, he's been having a great game, but continuing to build up stacks for his Desolator. Has another 35 seconds here on the Aegis. I don't think he's going to stick around anymore bottom. Like, they've kind of got what they wanted. A 6,000 gold advantage created. They have the first real gold advantage that they've had this game as well.
Yeah, that's kind of the crazy thing, right? They've gained 6k gold since getting the Aegis, and that's only put them 1k ahead, which kind of shows how much of a slip up Xtreme Gaming's fight earlier, right after the Roche was, that they had a decent lead. Granted, a good chunk of that is the Aghanim Shard they got from the Tormentor into the Ancient Apparition.
That will be the end of the Aegis. XM's actually gone for an okay save. Just Glimmer Capes, throws a Reality Rift stun, walks by. He's like, all right, see ya. Instilling fear
how
into
you
the
play
enemy team.
Chaos Knight support. Okay, I'm writing that one down.
Take notes. There'll be a quiz after this.
Xtreme Gaming
Overall,
slowing things down after that last series of events. I do think going back to our discussion about this negative armor physical damage strat, right? If you build enough armor, you start to counter every single hero. You slipped up, you feel that BetBoom's in the lead, so you don't want to fight now because the synergy would be too good. But I do see the Shivas queued up, just about done on the Tidehunter. You need some BKBs on the cores. I wouldn't be surprised to see. Yeah, we've already got the Solar Crest on the Ancient Apparition. He's got the Ghost Scepter queued, right? So now they are dragging this out to get all of their physical damage counters. And that's where BetBoom will start to struggle a bit. So I think they need to keep pushing this tempo, try to find a little bit more before these items come out.
yeah, like they're gonna keep gaining a lot of damage. The level 18 from the Slardar is actually such a massive power spike, but you have to make sure you hit that before all these armor items come out from Xtreme, and they're gonna find a rotation here, taking down the Bane, and Jin Q with the blink there, putting it to good use. I love that voice line.
Some heroes have, most of them are just like, you know, snarky lines and such. And then there's just a couple heroes that just make noises.
Basically what happens is they went into the sound booth, the voice actors, and they were told just like be unhinged. And that's how we ended up with these. Smoke up here from BetBoom, looking for an opening. Ooh, I think they see the Dragon Knight. Xingqiu in a good spot to break this. They know he's down here, but they blink forward. He actually gets the blink out, and now the question is, will they find Xingqiu? He's trying to TP out. The damage, oh my goodness. Was that Vacuum? I think it was.
Yeah, that was vacuum. I think there was a moment where Kiritich he started to move towards the Darkseer to like force staff him closer. But then he's like, no, never mind, I'm in range. Vacuum. And then the Hurricane Pike just got used on Bane or Shadow Shaman. So like it looked really funny because of that. But it resulted in a kill nonetheless. The Dragon Knight got out, so you're pretty happy with that for Xtreme Gaming. Yeah. That's like the support. That's a good support death, you know? Okay, Ghost Scepter done on the Tiny. Not something we used to see, but it's been meta lately, just because it's such good survivability for the hero. And a lot of times you're repositioning around the double hit from Echo and the Avalanche Toss combo. So it's like you go in, you do that, and then you Ghost Scepter, reset, come back in, repeat.
Tiny in the mid lane. He's going to need some help. They do immediately start TPing in the Tide, and Miro, well, he just Oh, they actually go ahead and miss the initial crush here onto Ame. He's going to stay on top of XXX. Xingqiu looking to stay on top of Katomi. He's trapped inside the wards. The Crimson Guard's not going to save him. A little bit of a miscommunication here from the side of BetBoom.
They started off well too, because they were keeping keeping Tide from ravaging. BKB entrance, Reality Rift, pull him to the side, all this stuff, but
in fact, the moment you see that Tide TP, it's the fight's like not really.
Yeah, you should just get out.
Thing. Yeah, it's like, all right, well, we forced the TP, like we'll just chill.
Yeah, now BKB is on a cooldown, so if this Roche respawns soon, Xtreme Gaming's in the advantage to get it. It does look like a longer Roche spawn, actually, so BKB should be back up all the abilities. That's probably part of why BetBoom was willing to go for that play. It's like, you know, we're not risking losing Roche. We have the TA. We know exactly when it's going to be up.
Yeah, and they get Tormentor. So as soon as that fight like kind of started going south, TA and CK went straight bottom, grabs Tormentor, Shard goes to Katomi on the Bane, so has a little bit more wave clear options. Also, because Tiny has a Manta, that Brain Sap is even more value.
Sure, he's gonna go for an Aghanims as well. Oh, change his mind, gonna go for a Blink. Either way, the farm speed will be faster with that Shard, so you can get to whatever item he decides is gonna be the most impactful. I like the Ags because there are so many ways to cancel his ult, so it's a little easier to use and more frequent to use with the Aghanims. But there's also a lot of good Nightmare uses this game, so if you have the Blink, you can make sure you could use it to cancel Shackles, you could use it to maybe save someone who's getting like Dragon Knight stunned for a moment. It can also keep you in the back of the fight so you don't get killed by the Ravage and just come in a little bit later. A lot of good uses for it.
Trying to scout here with the CK illusions. They also have traps everywhere. I don't know if they scouted this smoke was the thing. Oh.
They insta-kill an illusion.
Right by each other. Blink out here from GPK. Both teams gonna be a little bit hesitant. They actually pull XXS to the low grounds. Gonna put a little bit of damage into him. Xingqiu catches a Fiend's Grip. XXS, he really needs to hit the Ravage, get signs for the moment, but there's the wall. He's gonna be able to trap too. XM still pretty tanky here in the midst of it all. There's gonna be the foul play. He's forced to BKB on an XM. Kiritich in some trouble. Ame gets caught out. They missed the crush from the starter. Kiritich actually blinks in aggressively right into a Ravage while getting Ice Blast. He's dead. They buy back the Bane, but this fight's over.
That is, he was holding that Ravage for so long. I was really getting worried about it. And then with the blink in, he's like, oh, I guess this is the time to Ravage. So the patience pays off. I don't know if you can plan for the TA to blink in like that. She doesn't have the BKB either, like 1,000 gold off of it. So I think that was a bit over aggressive, and that's gonna cost you the Roshan now.
I mean, I don't know if he was trying to like blink over Ice Blast or something and thought that he could like outplay it like that, but he just gets clipped by Ice Blast and blinks onto a Tidehunter with Ravage. Like that is, you delivered yourself to death's door there.
Yeah, well, maybe he thought he was tanky enough with the refraction, but yeah, the costly mistake. Aegis now onto the Tiny, and they've got the banner as well, because that was the second Roshan, which will help the high ground push later on. Let's see if they can have the same immediate 6K gold gain for Xtreme Gaming.
Yeah, right. 15 to 15, no gold advantage. This is what I like to see. This is a very, very close game.
Yeah, this is
Both
where things start to get
really hitting their stride.
Yeah, but it does feel like it should start leaning towards Xtreme Gaming because, okay, Tiny has the Ghost Scepter, and he's currently sitting at 31 armor, which is 64% physical damage reduction. Dragon Knight is at 34 when the armlet is on. Tidehunter's at 30. He also has a Ghost Scepter. He has the Shivas to reduce attack speed. Xingqiu does not have enough armor. He is going to die. All he has is a Ghost Scepter and 9 base armor, which is actually not that bad as supports go, but he will certainly die anytime he's found. And then Ancient Apparition is sitting at 15 armor. Ghost Scepter has a Solar Crest to boost someone else's armor. So they are building those armor items. I see an AC queued up on the Tiny. We'll see whatever. I think they've got just about every armor item they can. Crimson Guard maybe and Greaves, but those aren't. I don't know if those are worth it this game. They actually hit really hard on BetBoom rather than hit frequently.
I think with BetBoom, it's like I said earlier, it's like minus armor doesn't counter extreme high armor heroes. It's really good early on, and it punishes low armor extremely hard, especially if they can't itemize into it. But you've pointed it out, man. They have the items coming through here from Xtreme. And there's going to be a point where this TA is going to be like tickling heroes like the Tiny and the Dragon Knight.
Quick math. I think if you combo every negative armor ability you have, it's 41 for BetBoom. But that means everything must be connecting and there's no dispels, anything like that. And you're all focused on one hero, which means you're going to get all avalanche, tossed, ravaged, everything, right? So it's not easy to just all clump up on one hero and use all of your negative armor.
This smoke, I mean, they were really just hoping to find anything that wasn't the Aegis Tiny, but everyone on Xtreme being patient, sitting behind him, except now they're starting to split up a little bit. Looks like Polosin, oh, they're actually just too afraid to go onto the high ground. There is a ward scouting out everything. Yeah, they're going to come back, get this B ward right away. Heads up play there. Anytime you're like smoking or smoke pops on that high ground, there's a safe bet that they took a ward there.
You got a minute and a half on Aegis, so we see it's not really done much so far as we get down to the end of it. But all you need is one big fight in these late game situations, and it can lead to some very swift gains. Not only are the kills worth a lot, but you suddenly take a lane of barracks. But you got 1 minute to do that, and you're currently split up. So it doesn't seem like it's happening. It seems like Xtreme feels comfortable in the late game, and they just want to use it to farm up, continue to build these armor items. The AC will be completed in a moment. And if you want, I guess you'll have 30 seconds to go, like as he finishes this AC.
You know, one thing to note that we haven't really talked about is like all the minus armor that's on BetBoom. Yeah, there's definitely a decent chunk of minus armor on the side of Xtreme, right? Between the Dragon Knight and the Tidehunter, and just the physical damage from the Tiny, it's like you do have to itemize to reduce the armor, or to like deal with the minus armor that's going to be coming out from Xtreme as well. So we'll see if they can figure out what they want to do around that. As of right now, that's not really a concern, it seems, for BetBoom, but if Tidehunter gets like an Aghanim Scepter, that's going to end up being very annoying for them to deal with.
It's actually kind of funny. We usually talk about Ancient Apparition. Of course, the Ice Blast combo early game's good, but Ice Vortex actually amps magic damage. And then he ended up with a pretty physical damage lineup and game. So maybe, I mean, you can't get perfect value out of every single hero, but that would be kind of nice here, where you could have some more magic damage into the armor that BetBoom is building.
Strong for the lane though, right? I think maybe like even if we don't see too many like amazing magic damage combos. Tiny AA proved to be actually a very strong lane with just the Ice Vortex, Avalanche, Cold Feet. Like that was killing pretty much a CK from 75% HP. So kind of a cool idea.
In the end, no Aegis action, so we're at a very even game. This is quite rare. Barely any gold difference at 33 minutes into the game.
Ancient Apparition is enormous. Where did he get all this gold from?
Well, he got the Aghanim Shard, right? Yeah, so he has that, and then he's 4, 3, and 10, getting several kills and assists, and then just farming with the Ice Vortex, right? Anytime his team is scared to push, he's just like, yeah, don't worry, guys, I'm on it. Ice Vortex, happy to take the farm and keep the lanes away from their base. He also has
greedy, I think, on the on his jungle item.
Nice.
I saw he had minus damage on his right click, so I think that means he has greedy. Yeah, 100 GPM bonus. So if he picked that up at a decent time,
dude,
then that would make sense.
No magic damage on the team. Get greedy, get Ags, become the magic damage on your team.
That's fair. All right, yeah. Become what you your team lacks. Smoke out.
That'll be a long way away.
$35-minute Tormentor is going to be spawning here in just a moment, right? It's been taken just after the the 15 and the 25, so it should be spawning here in about 10 to 20 seconds. They do have some wards placed from Xtreme Gaming on the bottom side of the map there. The scan is coming out. Radiant know that the high ground is safe, at least for the moment, but XXS, he's walking right in. There's the blink, the crush, the pullback with the nullifier, trying to finish the job, but he's again too strong, and they just collapsed onto Kiritich instead. The crush, the ravage, everything dumped on top of him. The Ice Blast does come through. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Miro, though, in trouble, trapped inside the shards. Q, he might just die to the illusion spawning here, and he will. They do manage to take the gem away. GPK afraid to go back in, but does have eyes on Ame. There he will. Nullifier out. The feeds grip, the pullback. He's in no man's land, but XM with the blink onto the backside. He just deletes them both. Oh, boy. It's looking rough for BetBoom now.
That feels a lot like that top fight earlier where the TA blinked in. Yeah, we're gonna get a replay here. Has the BKB, but the instant blink hex, they even accidentally tossed their own Shadow Shaman instead, but so many different heroes have chain stun that they're still able to finish the kill before TA BKBs. The wall's really good too, but once the TA is out, she is so much of the damage. Top net worth for her team, the side blade splash, everything. So they can poke and prod a little bit, but I mean, look, you're barely doing any damage to this Tiny, and it just allows this. Okay, that's where the supports are. I'll go kill supports now. So they got to back out after that if they don't find the right fights and lose the TA.
That was like a minus 20 armor corrosive haze on the Tiny, and he still had 25 armor. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you get to a point where you actually run out of damage in these physical drafts, and I like that they. I understand why they tried to like triple down on it with the last pick of the Slardar, but your damage is about to fall off a cliff here against Xtreme. Then the longer this goes, just the more impossible it gets. Yeah, I guess you're right. The damage has already fallen off a cliff. Now, I don't know, dude. I don't know where it goes at that point.
Because, I mean, we didn't even talk about it, but Anger Smash also reduces your damage, and then Tiny's innate, Craggy Exterior, every time you hit him, also reduces your damage. So it's like you're damage reduced into high armor. This is why these types of drafts are pretty all in. If you had won the lanes and if you push a fast tempo, you kind of crush it and you win really early. The longer the game goes, all this armor comes out, all the ethereals come out. It becomes really difficult. But I will say, if you can still highlight the right hero, you can still do it. For example,
they're gonna make a play here onto the Tiny. This time they actually get the BKB off, but he survives, and that's 2 BKBs for nothing. For a Ghost Scepter.
If you can, so we see like they get him down to about a fourth of his health left on the Tiny, but with the rest of the team showing up, they don't feel comfortable pushing forward, so they back off. you can technically still kill individual heroes, but it can't be these full 5-on-5s anymore. Now you need these smaller pickoffs on BetBoom, and Xtreme Gaming has been very careful now about drooping up. They have a gem, so they're slowly removing TA traps to avoid getting caught apart. We're gonna go for the third Roche. This is now Refresher and Cheese. This is a really big one, and BetBoom knows about it, but without BKBs, you really just can't do anything.
Yeah, there's no way. So Aegis onto the Tiny. Refresher Shard. That'll be a fun one for the Tide Hunter, I'm sure. So
No.
double Ravage.
Xingqiu took it. You're not even using Ravage enough, man. I'm taking this one. We'll see. They might pass it off between each other.
I'm sure they'll give it to him eventually. There's no way you don't play around double Ravage.
Serpent Ward is pretty good, as well as he's gotten many instant Hex Shackles this game, right? So
yeah.
Imagine TA doesn't BKB and he finds her on the side. He could literally keep her out of the fight for like 15 seconds on his own now.
Is he on his way to a BKB by chance?
He's got a smoke queued up. Is that a BKB?
Okay. That's close to a BKB. It's almost the same. Your base under siege and quickly here from the Tiny. The banner gets dropped, and it's not long before this is gonna die. Ame actually taking a lot of damage. Big vacuum back, pops that Ogre Seal Totem to get away. Now the Fiend's Grip onto the Dragon Knight, but there's the Ravage to try and bail him out. He gets the cheese, he's alive. Ame tossing up these heroes, but now he's in far. XXS maybe coming in too far himself. The Sleepwalk back in. Ame with this Ghost Scepter to try and buy himself some space. The Nullifier is out. They've got to try and take down this Tiny, and quickly your base is dead. Xingqiu comes in. Ward traps down one. He's trying to find these kills, but does he have the damage himself? They do get the Tiny, and now Xingqiu will pay the price. You get a lane of barracks. A little bit sloppy, but you get the lane of barracks.
That ends up, I don't know, that could have gone a lot better for Xtreme Gaming. I think they committed way too hard, and the backline wanted to come in, but their blinks were getting canceled so much, which is, you know, props to BetBoom for keeping the backline out of the fight. But that's exactly why that dive is dangerous, and usually what the banner helps you with. You don't have to do that dive because you put the banner down, your creeps become invincible, and it's on BetBoom to come to you. I really think that Barrack should have fallen potentially without even losing the Aegis, but certainly without losing like that many heroes on top of it. And now it's BetBoom looking to punish this hard, see if they can get the Tiny buyback, which would be a huge economic win. This is where the physical damage comes back again. The heroes can increase their armor, but the buildings can't. So TA will shred through this base pretty quickly if she can hit uphill. Okay, there we go. Now it gets going.
They're saying you want to see Repair Kit brought back into the game. There was a Dragon, a Chaos Knight there, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what happened to him, but he's just gone. Shiva's out here trying to make some space. Ogre Steel Totem. Actually puts him in a weird spot. He has to pop the BKB just because of the dead in the water, and XXS just keeps putting himself on the front line. Someone needs to get a Silver Edge, for God's sake, to deal with this. This Tide Hunter is just walking in, creating chaos, and not getting punished. Looks like TA finally has a Silver Edge queued up.
Yeah, the break will definitely help a lot. But without getting a proper punish, you don't get the Tiny buyback. You almost get the tier 3, sure. But you're definitely on the back foot now. Even though the gold lead is close, I do feel that the map pressure, like top lane is always pushing in now for Xtreme. Yeah. They have like every armor item at this point. I suppose they're technically also capped out on damage reduction. I mean, there's more, but I don't think you're getting those if you haven't got them already.
Oh, they're pinging mid. TA's Courier is on the way to the secret shop for the MKB.
She's a shield rune right now.
Or I'm sorry, for the Silver Edge. We're gonna look for a wrap around on the backside. Xingqiu actually getting caught out for the moment, but there's the Ravage. Q just gets the BKB off this time. Can he survive? Miro is dead. But they are just lacking the damage. Again, these tanky heroes not caring about a Templar Assassin. Jinkyu's going to drop the wards. The second set on the high ground thanks to that refresher shard. Wanting to take down a second lane of barracks, and, well, they're going to get it. Sooner or later, GPK dropping the puddles here to try and give him something to play around, but the banner comes back in. Nullifier out. In comes a really nice Fiend script. Katomi, it gets canceled, but they don't find the real one. It's a little bit too late. Ogre says it gets to the low ground. He's out. Oh my goodness, BetBoom can't kill anything.
That's how I think the first push should have gone with the Aegis.
100%.
So I think they learned their lesson off that one, as well as finding the Darkseer kill out of the base. They take this one much more carefully, just use the Serpent Wards as well as the heavy hitting Tiny and Dragonite to chip buildings from a safe spot. Gets a little close with the Fiend's Grip, but in the end, you get everyone out because they're so survivable, so tanky. And Ogre Seal Totem is such an exceptional neutral item. That one's got to go, man. When the patch comes out, we got to take away this free mobility.
Yeah, that item's absolutely getting removed. There's no way is allowed to stay in Dota in the way that it is. Like
until the next one.
I am pretty sure every single hero in Dota would prefer to take Ogre Seal Totem in like 80% of games. Like I actually can't think of heroes that would like. There's very few that you're like, oh, I don't need Ogre Seal Totem this game. It's just so good.
Yeah, all the mobility items tend to be top notch. BetBoom smoked up, starting to feel maybe a little desperate. Really need to find something here. Dragonite?
Gonna go in.
I don't know, it's pretty tanky.
Dragonite, but yep, doesn't seem to care all that much. Dragging the anchor through the water. We've talked about this. We think lore-wise, it should just start drowning you.
But that was Floridar, so it's actually fine.
Oh, big vac wall from 4. Now the question is, can they turn this into anything? The Ghost Scepters doing work. They will get themselves the 2 supports. Is it enough? You might need more than this. There's no buybacks.
They also
Waves
got
aren't
the
in a
gem.
great spot. Okay, the gem's actually kind of big.
You don't know they don't have buybacks, but I think you can push up. Tier 2's down.
A's is
you can
very
go back
close.
to mid. You could go back to mid, which is 1 tap away from dying. I feel like they're going to start on a brand new tower down here. I'd have loved to pivot to the mid lane.
Just to get the tier 3, yeah.
I mean, you could also get the ranged barracks in that time. Like, you're doing a full tier 3's worth of damage again. And it looks like they're going to get it.
Oh, blink in. Nullifier. They don't get the silver edge in time. And now Avatos into the tier 4s. Kiritich going to be forced to BKB. Try and run away. He does get to the low ground, but here's the buyback into the Ice Blast. It catches 2. Actually catches 3. Clips Miro, but the pipe gonna buy them some time. They get the buyback on the Ancient Apparition, but you're right. You don't even crack a tier 3 again.
3 towers at less than 10% health. It could have easily been the mid tower and the ranged barracks. I get that the creep wave is bottom with you, and that helps to dissuade the toss attempts as opposed to, tanking the tower yourself, standing in the middle of nothing. But they get the toss back anyways into the double ravage. Don't actually get a kill because a lot of the lockdown and damage amp is coming from the supports that were dead, and the buyback comes out. You get the Ice Blast a little too late at that point, but you do defend your barracks, and things are starting to now reset.
It's right, like Ravage is down. I think you just actually need to smoke. I mean, do they have any BKBs? Because they use both GPK and Kiritich's, right?
They should be up soon.
All right.
Yeah,
they also know the Roche timer,
in 20 seconds.
and they're not gearing for it, so they know it's not up quite yet. Yeah, it's still like 20 seconds away.
The ultimate bait, though, because the other team knows that you know. So anytime you go there, they know to go. You got to pretend to not care. You're like, oh, it's not coming up. I'm down here. Don't worry about it. Sneak back in.
All right, they scan the road.
Connect. They think it might be happening now. Well, maybe not, with Slardar showing mid. Losing the gem hurt. For example, that trap that just connected on 5 of them, revealing exactly where they are. That's probably the biggest loss from that last fight. Buyback on Ancient Apparition, also pretty scary. I'm surprised they didn't buy another one. It must be on cooldown.
Yeah, it's like, you kind of have to go back to defend. This bottom lane will die immediately. Save. Looking for Xingqiu, actually sets up a nice fight. Avalanche toss from Ame, just deletes the Chaos Knight. He's going to buy back. Great vac wall here onto 3 as well. Kiritich in kind of an interesting spot of his own. Blinks aggressively again, clipped by the Ice Blast, but he has the BKB to protect him, laying into XM. They've got the damage. 2 dead, 3 dead on Xtreme. And with this, XXS is going to drop the Ravage in desperation, desperately trying to finish off Kiritich. Can't do it. And now Polison dies as well. What a wraparound from BetBoom. A full duration Fiend's Grip. Just shutting down their team fight.
And this time they thought they were gonna force BetBoom back. So it's like, oh, drop wards, all that. BetBoom was already back. So the second the Shadow Shaman jumps in, the Slardar catches him, just preventing any of that lockdown from the Shadow Shaman. The BKB comes out way too late because he's already dead. That's gonna get to the Aegis onto the TA. And now it's time. We weakened 2 tier 3 towers. It's time for that to pay off. There's at least 2 sets of barracks, if not all of them, because you only have the buyback of Tide right now. I really don't think you can fight until everyone's up. You can't even delay safely.
Yeah, you need Ravage, right? And XSS using Ravage at the end of that fight there makes it very difficult for Xtreme to defend now. So Slardar will clean up the bottom tier 3, and they will get to work on those 2 lanes of racks. Like you said, Kiritich already very quickly cleaning up the first.
Time to head top. This is where it gets scary, but Tidehunter doesn't have Ravage for 50 seconds.
Yeah. He is such a big part of the fight too. XXS, well, it just forced a BKB right away as they actually get a Hex here onto the Slardar. A nice Fiend's Grip to bail out the Slardar, and with this, they turn it around. Ice Blast does connect onto 3. Tiny comes in, however, gets stunned right away. Ame needs to be careful trying to get away from this TA. Hurricane Pike, though, as this auto attacks just continue to be thrown from downtown. That's going to be a dieback here on the Shadow Shaman. Ame with a nice avatar trying to finish. He gets the cheese off at the last second as they jump in for more. A Crush connects onto 2. Reality are pulling back in XM here on the Dragon Knight. Outnumbered. Xtreme Gaming crumble inside the base, and I think BetBoom have done it. Tips to save.
Unless you're tossing everyone into the fountain, this is it.
Yeah, I mean, Ame, he's tanky, but can you survive this onslaught? There's the Ravage. They need to finish off Kiritich here, but they can't. The break is out. GPK tossed into the fountain, like you said, but a long Fiend's Grip to shut it down, and GPK still survives. Ame with an avalanche, or comes in with a toss, doesn't connect. The vacuum into the wall, into the Chaos Bolt. Ame will die back as well. And I think we got the GGs coming out here as the last tier 4 will fall. 17,000 gold gain during that Aegis. Yeah, that sounds about right. BetBoom will do it. They take game number 1.
Didn't realize, you know, like they just chain double-edged me, right? It's going to be something he has to be very careful of.
Well, it's time, ladies and gentlemen, that we jump into game number 2 here at BetBoom versus Xtreme Gaming. If you guys are tuning in, it's a great time. It's been some great games. Now, game 1 ended up going BetBoom's way, but we'll see if Xtreme can turn around here, get themselves a draw on the series, or if BetBoom's going to push themselves even higher in their groups. Off to a pretty good start, but the group is tight, man. Group A, a lot of teams within just 1 or 2 games of each other. And a 2-0 here for BetBoom would very much tip the scales. So we'll see what happens. As a smoke up from Xtreme, they're gonna go right up onto the high ground, walks into Katomi, smoke pops, and he sees them. Easy disengage. Very fortunate watcher there.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be in just a split on runes the way things are going. Though maybe Gyro has to be a little careful of where he's at. His whole team went top. He's still looking for the rune, and Medusa's wrapping around behind him. Oh, he has Afterburner. He's fine.
Yeah, I just noticed that
5
too.
million move speed walking with the river. It's actually more common to take secondary strikes nowadays, I'd say. So if you go Afterburner, it does mean you're typically looking for some aggression in the laning stage, trying to run people down. But into the Medusa, that seems pretty tough. I guess with Ancient Apparition, though, you're amplifying that early magic damage. So maybe you can find something.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm... it's one of those things that, like, I'm feeling like your safe lane's weaker on BetBoom. Maybe your off lane's a little bit better. I say that while Katomi, well, he just opted to go straight for the Glaives level 1 and is just pounding auto attacks into these two. So 12, 13, you know, stolen int or whatever right now. That's you just have to back away. You can't afford to take these trades against this hero now.
It does burn a lot of mana to play this way. Like it slowly adds up when you keep using this auto attack. But the first few levels are quite strong, and it's kind of where he needs to get his Terrorblade through, right? As you get levels on the Terrorblade, Power Treads, Falcon Blade, that risk of being burst will not be as big of a deal. And you see like the Centaur getting low. The Courier dying too. Did it deliver the regen?
It did, I think, yeah.
Okay.
It's
running out of regen up here. They do need to get...
Yeah. If they hit level 2 here, this should be a kill. Blood Grenade plus the meta. That's it. First blood right into the hands of the Terrorblade. That's what you're playing for with this aggressive build on the Silencer. Get them low, and if you get that level 2, the Curse into Reflection will be enough to find a kill, and that's a big win here for the safe lane of BetBoom. It's another Reflection. Xin Q needs to be careful, but
he does have a salve now, so
yeah,
we'll be back in the lane in a moment. But I'd say the early levels, very, very good for BetBoom so far.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious how this offlane's going, because this Medusa into Gyrocopter. Typically, you want to play Gyrocopter against these melee heroes when you have things like Afterburner, right? But you're against the Medusa who has Undulation, so she technically can't get faster, but you also can't slow her up. So I'm kind of wondering how that's going to end up panning out for these guys.
Does that work with Gale Force? Against Gale Force?
I have no idea.
I gotta look at that later.
Because Gale Force is forced movement. It's not like it adjusts your movement speed.
That's
right.
True, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it would work.
Dire's bottom tower is
Starfire Gyro doing okay down here. Do you think the Medusa spam gets more annoying as she gets higher levels in Mystic Snake? So we'll see if this lane continues to go well. But even if it doesn't, that's the nice thing about Gyro Ancient Apparition. You have aggressive potential in the lane. If it doesn't go that way, though, Ancient Apparition is one of the best early stacking heroes, and he can stack 2 camps at once pretty much anywhere he goes. And Gyro, one of the best stat clearing carries in the game. So they have a lot of options to make sure that Ame has at least a stable start.
Yeah, absolutely. Miro is not having a great time CS-wise, but he's not like being shut down or anything. Like you said, just spamming the snake whenever he can. He's not really getting him a lot of value out of it at the moment.
An okay spot right now, though. In the mid lane, it's pretty even here so far, but Sand King does have a handful of denies. I think this should be a little bit Sand King favored, so that's not too surprising. The changeup will be at level 6 or the 6-minute runes. When Ember, as soon as you have 6, you can do things. Sand King, if you get a good rune, you can do things, but otherwise you kind of need to get to that blink dagger before you can really catch heroes off guard. The slow walk in with a short range burrow strike is not usually very successful. And we see top, although they got that kill earlier, now that Centaur has a couple levels, has his bracer, got more levels on the Keeper Light and in the boots and the windlace, it's becoming much harder to apply pressure to Xtreme's lanes.
Oh. So this is where, like, I was wondering how they were going to play around this Centaur. Oh my goodness. goodness.
This reward.
What a snipe by Save.
Well, that's gonna hurt your mid lane.
The nice thing is he'll be back to go for the power rune, but you're at a level disadvantage now. You were being denied, now you're dead, so you'd have to contest into an epicenter, and that's pretty terrifying. You're gonna have to hope for RNG here that it's a top rune and BetBoom goes for bottom. But that's exactly why Karaomi comes over now. So pretty much wherever you go is gonna be kind of a bad spot to be.
Ancient Apparition knows he's probably trying to stack right now, blocks the hard camp. And as the rune spawns top, it will be taken by Katomi, takes the shield rune. So one of the things I was gonna say around this Centaur pick is how they decide to play around it, because sometimes we see Centaur just be left in the lane and your 4 position is just like stacking. And that's kind of what's happening here, right? You don't really have kill threat on this hero very easily. And the Coddle has been busy at work, stacking the triangle, the camps left of their towers. He's having a good time. We'll see who ends up clearing these, if it's going to be him or the Centaur.
At this point, they're playing for the Keeper's level 6 timing, where you can just recall the Ember everywhere, give him a million Sleight of Fist and Searing Change charges. Another double stack for Xingqiu as he goes for the Wisdom Rune. Save will get his own as well. But due to these stacks and farming some of the stacks, because you get to do that as the Keeper Light, he's already level 4.5, and once his team starts clearing these stacks, or maybe he does it himself.
I was like, I feel like he's clearing the stacks.
Yeah, he should hit a pretty decent level 6 timing, despite the lane maybe not going as well as they would have liked.
And that being said, they might finally get the kill onto the Centaur. Yeah, top lane, they end up bringing in the Wind Ranger, and this will help actually secure the kill. So, good punish, right? We were saying like that you playing greedy when you're leaving the Centaur in the lane like this, and his only goal is to really just get experience, but if you can find the kills, it will severely hurt his game, shut him down. So we're gonna see 8 minutes of Power Rune get ready to spawn.
GBK lost the Shield Rune last time, but you can't really get kills with the Shield Rune easily. If you can dive, sure, but Ember, now that he has a Remnant, very difficult hero to dive. You're kind of hoping for that haste, invis, something like that, that lets you get real close to get an early epicenter kill.
Ooh, this is really nice if they can find the shackle set up here on his Xingqiu. They do get it. Kiritich claims another. Now there's some TPs coming in. Gyrocopter with the call down. It will connect. Ame, does he have the grab here? There is a Sunder available. And without a stun, they are too afraid to get any closer. So they force the gyro top. They steal the stacks in the triangle as well. This is what Sand King was doing the whole time.
Yeah, it was at least just the hard camp stacks, so you still have your ancient stacks, but Sand King getting closer to his Blink Dagger off of your efforts of stacking.
Yeah.
He's gonna be very happy with that.
And look at Miro, man. Super efficiency right now. Cleaning up stacks in the jungle, plus just lane dragging. Getting all of his mana back.
Yeah, you love to get a Mud Golem camp for the Medusa off lane, or I guess Medusa carry sometimes too, but there are some camps that are just better for mana since not every neutral creep has it. Mud Golems are the best. The Satyrs are the next best, I'd say.
Yeah. Really, you like the Mud Golems more than the Satyr camp?
I mean, as a hold that thought, Miro,
he doesn't have ult quite yet. And with this, he has a stick and a Lotus. Is it going to be enough to get him to the tower? The Afterburner, no way. 4 points in that Afterburner. Rocket Barrage. That will be a very nice kill. Great wraparound here from XM. Now they will see him scouting. Clearing some stacks here. You get the D ward.
This will balance out the stacks that Sand King stole earlier.
Yeah. Xingqiu just going to have a fun time. Now that he's level 6, another Slight Chains into an Ice Blast and a series of kills. Now going the way of Xtreme, completely evening out this net worth advantage.
This is the timing. This is where you have to start making a lot of plays. Every time the ultimate is up, on the keeper. In the downtime, he'll probably go back to stacking, but otherwise, you just want to keep playing with this Ember, moving him around, giving him the double slight, double chains is really strong right now. But the longer you wait, you know, eventually the dispels come out, BKBs is going to drop off a lot. So now is the time to get what you can get done. Yeah, Ice Blast. He's actually just dead there.
Yeah,
Might still be
I mean,
dead.
I think he might just be dead anyway. Yeah, the double strike there from that sleight of fist gets him another kill. GPK will snipe his courier and does have a blink dagger coming right now on his courier. Has an amplify damage in his bottle. And with this, we'll see if they can punish the overextensions here from the Ember Spirit. Amplify damage comes out, the blink forward onto the Keeper of the Light. Xinqiu, the great target to take down first. He's the one enabling this Ember Spirit. Remnants up to the high ground.
Retreat
he will
now,
be
though.
fine.
Good find. Great rune to have as you get your blink dagger. That is very fortunate. So good kill onto Xinqiu, who's pretty rich for his support for everything he's done. Gonna come back, make sure their ancients can't get stolen. XXS got his Vanguard, and he's now going for a Blade Mail. So it's going to be very difficult to focus down this Centaur Warrunner. And I imagine you mentioned, oh, there's two ways to play this hero. It seems to be the style of let's just leave him up there. He's got 2,000 health with a Vanguard and working on either a Blade Mail or a Crimson Guard. He's like swapping between them. We'll see what he ends up going for in the end, but he is so difficult to kill. Even if you bring the Sand King up with the Epi, he has so much health, right? You get like half of his health, and then the rest has to come from right clicks, which he's gonna be returning damage back to you.
It's just like not worth going for him. Global Silence comes out in the mid lane as the fight's breaking out, and that might spell the disaster here for XM, and it does. Ame here, Stampede comes through. Katomi clipped by the Ice Blast. And they will get into a return kill, but I mean, that was the whole idea with this silencer, the global. It connects. They get themselves a really nice kill. And Miro did take bottom tower in the process. Oh, top lane. Okay, that is a great punish. GPK comes top immediately and helps bring down the Centaur with the meta.
You know, I thought that Centaur would be hard to kill, but Terrorblade did 1,800 physical damage from right clicks. So when you have the meta and all the illusions and then Sand King stuns him up for you and you just get to sit there and deliver damage, I guess that is enough to kill a Centaur.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have the Crimson Guard yet, and he doesn't have actually a lot of armor either because he didn't go the Blade Mail. So he was like really close to being able to reduce a lot of the damage the Terrorblade that could do. So that was kind of just this perfect opening for BetBoom to get him. Crimson Guard, he has it now, of course, but it was on his courier when he died, for anyone who was wondering. So Terrorblade off to an amazing start this game. 1,500 gold in front of the Gyrocopter, has the Manta Falcon Blade on his way to the Aghanim Shard. The big question for me will be this 15-minute Tormentor and which team can get it, because there are some really good shards in this game.
You really want this for the recall on Xinqiu.
He has a Manta to dodge the Stomp. He does exactly that. Nice stuff there from Kiritich.
Trying to start taking some towers on Xtreme Gaming. All the tier ones are up.
Medusa's here. Does have Gorgon's Grasp up in 1 second into the Meteor Hammer. Obviously something you have to be very careful. Shackle on the money. Two heroes connected. Sand King comes in with the Epicenter into the global. In the better kill. The Ember Spirit isolated on the backside. This is how I like seeing Silencer used offensively with your team fight as opposed to a reactionary hero.
Yeah, that was a really good global, and even the the double Gorgon's Graph, just landing every spell perfectly in that fight to get that Ember kill. Maybe setting up that Tormentor. Yeah, I see them all headed over now. And stealing this away, this is like a win on multiple fronts. First, you defend your tower, which is huge against a Keeper of the Light who can sneak to your side of the...
I mean, he knew what was coming. Ice Blast, guys. Ooh, neither of them are going to die, but yeah.
The Keeper, when your towers are down, he can sneak to your half of the base, recall everyone in, especially if you get the shard from the Tormentor, and then suddenly you're being ganked from a crazy angle you didn't expect. Kind of like this, but Medusa is pretty tanky and fast with the ult going. Right, they're committing Stampede for it, so they will get this Medusa kill unless the creeps want to grief them. Yeah, they're gonna griefing. Get the tower now. Because you do want to take these angles, right? So you can gank from some crazy stuff, but you won't have the Tormentor to get the shard on the Keeper or the Ancient Apparition now. It ended up going to the Wind Ranger, which is the much better shard to get for BetBoom support duo.
Yeah. I like I said, when I was saying there's good shards, there's 3 really impactful shards this game. And like you said, fortunately for BetBoom, they get the good roll on there, right? It doesn't end up into the hands of the Silencer.
So the way Silencer's playing, right? We see Feast or Famine Silencers. He's a feast mode right now.
It's going to be a nice epicenter here. Crimson Guard is out, and like you said, this Centaur, you get half his HP with this. Ice Blast is coming. GPK might be in danger. He needs to get away from the Centaur. Someone's got to kill this guy, right? In comes the Mystic Snake. It will slow him up. Power Shot will secure it. And now with the stun coming out soon here, again, this one onto the Coddle. In comes the call down. They don't have the detection. Glimmer Cape's going to protect him, and GPK, he's dead instead. Kiritich is here on this. Terrorblade's going to run in here, see what he can find. Reflection doesn't connect. Neither does the Gale. I mean, it took you a minute to kill this Centaur, and it almost cost you multiple heroes.
I mean, that's the strength of the Centaur. He's very tanky, even when he does ultimately die. And if you were having a little bit better of a game, these kills would go a lot easier. Oh, we're switching to Famine mode now on the Silencer. Deleted there.
I love Famine mode.
If Xtreme had been having a bit of a better game up to this point, these fights would be going so much more their way because they are hitting that point where the Chakra Magic and Ember is strong. But Ember's was, up to this point, one of the bottom net worth cores.
Just, if Coddle is alive, Ember Spirit, it's not like, you're like, oh, he's reducing his, he's like 70% stronger, right? Like, it's actually insane how different of a hero Ember Spirit is when he has Coddle alive. So I feel like BetBoom, they've done a decent job at actually targeting the Keeper of the Light in these fights, realizing that they can handle XM by himself. They can't handle XM if the Keeper of the Light is able to spam spells. So I think they're just going to try to keep focusing on finding that Jin Q Keeper of the Light. But for now, they've evened out the game completely.
Yeah, the way they've used, we were talking about the aggressive global silences earlier. That's how they were killing XM, even with the Keeper alive, is that, okay, global full commit. And so if you don't have that available and you can't connect that combo, it feels like a losing fight, you know, like you said. Illuminate heals. These are some of the weird angles we were talking about. Moving in deep. Can they get GPK?
There's no way. The question is, will they TP in the numbers to protect him? Atos Ice Blast. He's already dead before a single TP comes out. Poliston's just going to TP out himself. He doesn't mind. And here's the thing. I'm a little bit confused on the game plan here for BetBoom, because normally when we see a Medusa, she's threatening your towers and you're just sitting behind her. And we're not seeing that. She's just kind of farming the jungle defensively, and you're putting the Sand King in danger.
I think this is where the Keeper helps a lot, though, right? Where Medusa sits in the front, and you go, oh, okay, we either ignore Medusa and she takes our buildings, or we go, you know, we go fight her, but then they get to farm everywhere and they get to push other parts. Now, Keeper, as long as you're in the fog of war, the enemy team doesn't know, and in fact, you could be doing both. So that makes it a little tricky to pull off that game plan where you lose your Sand King and Miro still doesn't feel comfortable shoving in the mid too far on his own. He's like, well, I could be next, you know? And maybe you see Medusa die, but you don't see the Keeper. You go, I'd like to push out this lane, but there could be 3 heroes coming at me right away. So it is a cool idea to have this Keeper versus that Medusa. For now, they're going to go for their own smoke, and if you can take out some of these heroes, especially this Keeper, your life becomes much easier, and it looks like they're going to find him. Illuminate coming out of the trees. You know exactly where he is.
You have a pretty good idea. Ice Blast does connect. The Gale Force will trap the Global Sign's there, but the Coddle, he's 100% full HP, doesn't even get clipped. They didn't have detection when he just Glimmer Caped and walked away. And now they're gonna be able to get the stomp here onto the Medusa. Kiritich still nice and tanky, but XM's just ripping across the backside of this fight. Burrow Strike, it actually misses XM, but they get the kill anyway. XXS, a very optimistic TP here against this Terrorblade. It ends up being a favorable fight for BetBoom, even with a non-ideal initiation.
The initial jump went straight into barrier. So there was Glimmer on the Keeper and then Pipe and Crimson Guard from Centaur along with the Stampede going. So that's what allowed them to reposition, get the support kills. And then I think they felt a little too strong off of that because Kiritich is really powerful. We've seen him kill the Centaur multiple times while in meta, and that's just how Terrorblades go, right? When you get to stand and do your damage, it's great. But when everyone's stampeding around, you're getting blasted like, oh, it's too hard, you know? So as Stampede is over and they're still taking the fight, you go, oh, finally, I can sit here and attack with my 50 illusions, and he just destroys the Ember and the Centaur. So Xtreme Gaming is gonna have to be more careful of that going forward. This Terrorblade has had a great game, and you have to respect the damage output.
Nice bait on the rune there. Smoked up, get the kill onto the Wind Ranger. I mean, not the kill you're maybe hoping for. They initially were pinging out the Terrorblade, but we'll take anything that they can get. Putting that Ice Blast on cooldown. And Ame now with the BKB, he's pretty strong. Top of the net worth, he's been staying neck and neck with the Terrorblade, despite Terrorblade having arguably a better game.
The question is whether you can actually fight the Terrorblade on your own. That's a matchup that actually goes Terrorblade's way in a 1v1 because Gyro does a lot of AoE damage, but you're high armor, you have all the illusions, and so even the illusions survive for quite a while, and your single damage output on the Terrorblade is much higher than the Gyros. This is, of course, a team game, though, so you're going to have to factor in the other stuff, which will determine, although these two carries are fighting for the top net worth spot, it's easier for Terrorblade unless the help is coming from the rest of the team.
We'll be seeing XXS here. Another setup onto the Centaur, and with this, you might be able to make a play for the Roshan. The line being drawn with meta being used, I think that's where they're headed.
You still have over half the duration. Should be pretty doable. You can maybe try to snipe with Ice Blast. I think that's your best bet. And then that's about it.
Yeah, with this, I think Xtreme have a pretty good idea of what's going on, and they are not interested in contesting. So they're going to try and just shove out the waves. Ice Blast will be coming through. Annoying, but not too much of a worry for either of these heroes, especially the Medusa. Well, she's happy to tank this.
Yeah, but Kiritich could do something really funny. You could go and take a bunch of damage and then stun to her.
That
Hilarious.
would be funny, actually. All right. Aegis into the hands of the Terrorblade here. 24 minutes. We're going to see a Tormentor coming up very soon as well, which the first one went the way of BetBoom. They got it onto the Wind Ranger. We've already talked about how much Xtreme would really like to have Aghanim Shards.
Is under attack.
The Aghanims is being built on the Keeper. That will be pretty good. It really distracts a lot of the heroes on BetBoom. Maybe buys time for the Gyro to continue to output that damage evenly across everyone.
I'm surprised Jinkyu's as farmed as he is. Or rather, maybe I'm surprised that the Centaur is as farmed as he is because he was sacked, right? We talked about that. Like, Jinkyu actually went and just, like, jungled from like 5 minutes onward. And that's why he's you know, sitting at 8,400 net worth without, you know, an Aghanim shard from the Tormentor or anything. Like, he's 2,000 gold in front of the next support. And we'll see how much that affects this game, because the Will-O-Wisp, very annoying to deal with.
They've got a blink on the Centaur. Some of these fights have been a little messy for them when they can't get to the right targets. Maybe this will help actually pick off... I'd say Silencer is a great get. Terrorblade, of course, if you can jump him and burst him before he gets anything done, is always fantastic. Though with the Aegis, pretty difficult to do twice.
Yeah, they're afraid to contest the Tormentor, it looks like. So second Tormentor will again go the way of BetBoom. And with this one, well, Ice Blast is coming through here. It connects on the Terror. It's like, you stunned your Medusa. Miro's like, bro.
Save was about to walk back in to help a little bit, dude. That would have got him. Died twice per Tormentor.
All right. I didn't realize Kiritich rushed the Butterfly. That's a pretty big item this game, because you do not have an MKB coming out anytime soon for this Gyro. And you talked about the single target damage. It's definitely there now. And with this, you have meta up. I think we're just going to see them continue to push through this bottom side of the map. GPK might be breaking a smoke here. He does. Gets the blink away. They find the Coddle. That's a huge hero to start the fight on. Can they actually get to him, though? The Atos here will trap for the moment. Dodging the stomp again. Will-O-Wisp comes out immediately. Ice Blast will connect. Now, again, this is your Aegis, the Blink Burrow Epicenter onto 3. They've got the BKBs out there surviving, but there's just too much damage in from the side of BetBoom. They've got to find some kills, certainly, but GPK, he's going to be next to go down. Power shot snipes the Ember Spirit.
Oh my God.
As well into a Meteor Hammer, but Kiritich is dead. Ame, the big winner in this fight, looking for more. Miro doesn't get out either. Despite what looked like an insane start to the fight here for BetBoom, Ame just cleans house.
That was crazy. I have to imagine the auras and the healing coming from Coddle is what ultimately tips that over. Gyro doing so much damage in that fight. It did start off well. Like this Manta dodge, right, sets them up to all go for Kiritich, who has the Aegis. You can like bait his life a little bit. So you get this amazing Epi combo. Everyone gets so low, but then there's just enough survivability thanks to the pipe, the glimmers, everything. The Stampede gets everyone out, repositions, waits for the global to end. At that point, you've used all your big spells, and the longer fights tend to go Xtreme's way as you whittle them down with Sleight of Fist, repeated flat cannons, illuminates everything. That was so on the edge, though, man. I can't believe they turned that.
Yeah, I think this was one of those moments where a couple split decisions might have cost you. Like, there's also just an incredible timing for the Satanic that came out on the Gyrocopter. He gets it right before that fight breaks out, and you know, it's one of the reasons they're making that smoke play in the first place, but does so much work in that fight. The other thing, I'm surprised they didn't just go for the Coddle when they got vision of him. Like, that is the hero, I feel like, for them to burst in the fights, and as a result, he survives the whole thing and just allows them to continue to do work. And after that fight, Gyrocopter gets an entire MKB from that fight.
I think he had a Crystallis earlier, so he must have disassembled it to finish some of this stuff a little faster. But absolutely paying off, and a nice use of Chop Shop. We don't see that all. I feel like Devil's Bargain a little bit more and Chop Shop sometimes, but feels like there's still room for creativity on disassembling and selling items. Medusa found here.
Yeah, Ice Blast connects. They overthrow it to catch anyone on the backside, but Medusa is still very tanky.
Oh, here's the Gyro.
Gets the Stone Gaze off, but yeah, with Gyro coming in now, there is no surviving at all. Mind you, she also built a Radiance to try and give herself some evasion and survivability in these fights, and now, not really working out all that well.
It was having a good start, but like this happens a lot. You know, you're having a good game. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go greedy. I'm gonna get Radiance. Halfway through the Radiance, things start changing. You're like, I'm kind of committed, but it really is much slower than I thought it was gonna be. Feel like that's what's happening with this Radiance.
Tower is under attack.
I will say the Yule Scepter on this Ember Spirit makes him almost unkillable now. You need like a Burrow Strike into Shackle with the Terrorblade there. Otherwise, like Global Silence just is not enough.
Jarrah
9,000
close
gold
to 25 as well.
Yeah.
For BetBoom, Sand King scaling is really good. He does have his Ags. You know, he's working on a Shivas that'll really amplify his damage, and an epicenter combo like we saw earlier will start finishing off the kills with that. Especially you get Hex on this Medusa. It's still going to take a while to finish it, but that's going to give you some extra control to make sure. Maybe you keep the Centaur locked down so he can't stampede everyone away, or maybe you keep the Ember away from being able to use Yules to get out of some of this stuff. Like actually finish the kills, whereas last time they got away with like 200 health.
Smoke up. Who's going to find who? Burrow Strike. There's the Global Science. They do manage to get on top of the Ancient Apparition. There's the BKB, the Epicenter. Can they bring him down? First they do. GPK now on the run, trying to get away from this Gyrocopter, but it's going to be the Ember Spirit to secure the kill. But with the BKB down from Ame, he might need to get away here. Meteor Hammer drops on top. Another Manta dodge here of the Stomp. Kiritich tries to get the kill. He does the Thunder back to full HP off of XXS. It's up to the Terrorblade now to carry this fight, but the Ember Spirit is still alive with the Coddle behind him. He needs help. He needs to get away from this XM. But can he do it? Gil pulling them back here a little bit. Held down here by the Gorgon's Grasp, but Yules, that Meteor Hammer might connect. No, just slightly off-timed. And now, yeah, dead is this Terrorblade, and XXS does a nice stomp onto 2. With this fight is over for the side of BetBoom. Hero, I mean, he
gotten out a little sooner before this. The Manta dodge from Kiritich, he's dodged like every hoof stomp, and it allows them to get a good kill, a favorable fight, but then they stick around too long without Thunder available. So it's not like you're even baiting a low health Terrorblade. And XM sees that, he's like, wait, he doesn't have Thunder. I'm just gonna jump him and kill him. And then from there, suddenly your damage is gone. BetBoom should just back out a bit sooner. I know that's easier said than done, right? Running away from an Ember Coddle. And maybe that's why they felt they had to stand and try to fight it out. But it's much harder for them than for Xtreme Gaming.
I think this is one of those moments where, again, the initial Burrow Strike was so close to not to catching the Coddle. It hits the Ancient Apparition. He gets Gale Force back into the middle of the fight. But Xinqiu, just by pure luck, doesn't get hit. Like, it was just a blind Burrow Strike to the other side of the tree line, and Xinqiu was missed by just a fraction. And if they get the kill, it's totally different, right? Coddle enabling this Ember Spirit so much is just a huge issue for them.
That's true. Taking out the Ancient Apparition at least helped them, and that's part of the reason they were able to get some favorable kills to start. But yeah, like you said, there was a potential for that Burrow Strike to catch 3, but it is blind. You just have to blink and instantly react, and that's so tough.
Yeah.
Kind of amazed he even caught 1, actually.
Looks like Kiritich actually going for a BKB now. I do agree. I think he does need it at this point, just because there is a lot of annoying damage coming out in these fights. And just dealing with Will-O-Wisp can be enough. Where are we on the Sand King right now? Because I know level 20, level 25 are like his really big talents. Is he working on Chrysalis or Daedalus this game?
So he's actually going for more survivability. He has a Ghost Scepter queued up into the Refresher. I can understand what he's thinking, because in a lot of these fights, he goes in, commits, and then dies on his way out. And you actually want to live longer on Sand King, because you can just keep you know, burrow striking. The sandstorm does more damage. You want to keep the Shiva's auras going. So wants to live first. Maybe he'll go back for the Crystallis.
That's a big
later
item for Ame. The butterfly now finished. They're smoked up. I mean, Ancient Apparition, not necessarily the best target to find, but you will take this for sure. Shackle into a very quick kill. And the question is, will Xtreme be able to dodge out the rest of this gank?
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
With Roshan right here and no Ice Blast, that's actually a pretty big win if they can capitalize on it.
Doesn't seem like Xtreme Gaming wants to take the risk without their Ancient Apparition. Or maybe they were hoping it was a slow spawn. They actually are smoking now that they hear the roar.
I mean, is it going to be fast enough? We'll have to see. Miro putting himself on the front line. There's going to be the Will-O-Wisp dropped immediately. In comes the meta. The question is, can you actually push back these heroes? XM with an early BKB being spent here in Kiritich. Well, he will have a Sunder available as he continues chasing, has to Remnant to safety. But you did bring the Terrorblade's HP pretty low, and there is an Ice Blast coming up here as the Ancient Apparition respawns, so they did manage to prevent this. They jump in, they get eyes here on the gyro, the shackle, can they kill him in time? He's gonna turn around with a BKB, no, the stun is there! It was the Stone Gaze from Miro that finds the kill, and XM rooted up with the Sunder, tries to get away, but he's dead as well. XXX comes in, a buyback on the Ember Spirit, they're gonna get on top of Kiritich. He needs help, what a shackle! Buying him the space he needs, but Miro left to the enemy here. Xtreme will get something. Ame dead for 75 without buyback.
Though.
Yeah, they might be able to.
It's already low from earlier. You can keep throwing power shots, but besides that, yeah, they're too scared. They're gonna leave, give the Aegis to XM who had to buy back in that fight. I think BetBoom technically gets the gold out of that fight for the kills and the buybacks forced, but with the Aegis going to Ember and now having the banner as well, Xtreme should feel okay with that. And once you have the gyro, I think you can start looking to push. Dave's just trying to push out side lanes while he can. Scouting Ice Blast, actually. They want to kill off Dave here.
Into Stampede. They're really coming after him. There's the stomp on out. Okay. I mean, that's a solid commitment just for the Wind Ranger, but maybe it's worth it.
And we've seen so many good shackles and power shots in these fights. It gives a lot of scouting information as well as just control for the Terrorblade. Part of the reason that gyro died, the burrow strike into shackles, into Stone Gaze. What a combo to run there, but they just kill the gyro. No contest.
Yeah, I feel like they're never going to kill this Centaur. 5,000 HP on this hero.
It's getting up there. All right, with this, they're going to take the last tier 2 available. So if you win another big fight, it's a very farm gyro. The base is open for the taking, especially with the Centaur. Centaur's actually pretty fast at taking some buildings because you reflect so much damage back at the towers. They go for the Tormentor. Maybe they can finally get the shard for Xing Q. It's like, it's such a good shard, but at the same time, if you have to buy it, it feels like it misses the timing because you want to rotate with having a Glimmer and or a Force Staff, something like that. So you really want just to get the shard for free.
Ooh,
and we rarely see them.
Awkward.
We rarely see them buy it, even if they don't get it. It's kind of like funny to me, but Centaur ends up with it. I actually think that's fine at this point.
Yes, but Centaur had also just bought the shard. It was on his courier.
No.
So he has to send it back and sell it. So he just lost 700 gold. Like, he gets the shard, but essentially has to, you know, he only gets 700 out of it instead of 1,400. So kind of awkward going for the Tormentor when there's a shard on the courier. It's always one of those things you got to make sure doesn't happen.
It's a rare situation. Understandable why kind of like slipped their mind. BetBoom checking for wards real quick while they can. You better start sitting in your base as the rest of Xtreme show up. You're going to take control of this triangle. And you've got 2 minutes left. Ag's about to finish on the Ember. He doesn't have buyback anyway, so he's going to go buy it out. With that, it's a lot of power. He can drop the banner to start sieging up BetBoom's base. But it is scary. This is a really tough lineup to push into on BetBoom, and if you overextend, they can easily wipe you. So we might see them just play really safe, look for pickoffs if they can, and if they don't, they just use this Aegis to wait out the buyback timer of the Ember.
Yeah, who does have an Aghanim Scepter now as well, so even more chasing and mobility here from XM in these team fights. I mean, they've built themselves a sizable lead here, but we are closing in on some big items and levels here for some of these heroes. Again, the Sand King level 25 is one of the big talents.
Yeah, there's still a lot of potential from the BetBoom lineup. This is a very key moment in the game, and why it feels bad if you can't push right now, because you drag it out, you get your buyback, but then, refresher on the courier. That's a huge one to get.
Dang, that is surprising. I mean, that, like, when we say refresher on courier, the whole refresh, he has the recipe in his pocket, so that is a full refresher that you will not have now. Stampede comes out. PPK is just dead somehow. And the Ice Blast is gonna get him. 95 seconds. Sideline does have the buyback. As they will now look for the Medusa. Trying to just hold them back. Hex onto the Gyrocopter. But he's starting to rip through Miro's health, or mana pool rather, as the Stone Gaze does come out. And Kiritich, well, he wanted to go for a Sunder, but a Lotus protecting XXS. He needs this to expire. There it is, the Sunder into this meta. Does he have the damage? XXS just doesn't care. And it's Ame on the high ground, just flat cannoning down everybody. Big epicenter in here from the buyback of GPK. Is it enough to find the kills? It's not. Diebacks with another Ice Blast. And off of this, I think BetBoom will have to tap out 3 dead with nothing left in the tank. Dude, that refresher legitimately could have been game-changing.
Not only the refresher, but if you wait a little longer, you get level 25 on the Sand King as well. Like, what a window to find. And I'm guessing it's off that courier kill. I don't know if they clicked it in time. They must have and seen that there's a refresher, that he doesn't have buyback. Kiritich? Sneaking out here in Viz.
Shadow Blade. Yeah, he like bought a Shadow Blade, was trying to make a play, maybe for a sneaky Sunder into a kill, but that's not gonna happen. Even a, celebratory Ice Blast into the fountain to find the kill. The series will split 1-1 as Xtreme will take game number 2.
Well done from Xtreme Gaming, but also a very close game. You know, we were talking about it earlier.